the matter of Mary Kona. That is the state of Michigan versus Mary Kona, file 25-43856-SM. We have finished our plea taking. The court has accepted the plea, the no contest plea. We're going to proceed to sentencing. Mr. Brunton, as the victim, is now present. Mr. Brunton, is there anything that you want the court to be aware of by way of victim impact statement?
I just honestly, I don't think that she should have even have been arrested. This didn't happen out of violence or aggression or anger of any kind. It was out of confusion. She was here, she was on a lot of meds. We've had 15 different contractors in and out of the house. I assume she just thought it was some random guy walking into her room. I don't think she should have been arrested. I think maybe just separating us for the night should have been fine. We've never had an incident ever. She has a spotless record. I would just hope that the court would take that into consideration. I believe she should. I mean, I don't know what kind of plea she took, but if the court accepts it, I mean, I have to respect that.
Yeah, she has entered what's called a no contest plea, which says that she didn't admit to anything, but she also didn't contest the ultimate outcome. And I read a portion of the police report called the probable cause affidavit for that, the details of what happened, which indicated that you were punched in the face 3 or 4 times and that she admitted punching you in the face 3 or 4 times. So that was the factual basis that the court used. Is there anything else that you want me to be aware of, Mr. Brunton?
Just that she has been without her meds for 2.5 months now.
All right.
Some of those are pretty important.
Yeah. What do you intend to do by way of where she's going to live after the sentencing is over?
I mean, can she come home?
Well, that's kind of what I'm asking is
Yeah,
what do you want to do about that?
I'd love to have her come home.
All right. And you live at the house. Safer.
I'm worried about her. I have no idea what's going on.
Does she have any sort of social worker or mental health treatment worker or anybody else that sees her on a regular basis, either at the home or at a counseling center?
She has many different specialists that she goes to. A lot of them are for physical therapy, which I do with her. She has advocates. Yes, I believe she has mental health. Yeah. I mean, her traumatic brain injury, her PTSD, her anxieties through the roof. I mean, yeah, she has specialists that she works with all the time.
All right. Any other information that you want me to be aware of, sir?
Just can tell her I love her.
All right. All right. Mr. Fortier, is there anything that you wish to say by way of allocution?
Judge, I mean, obviously you read the probable cause affidavit and you've kind of noted a couple of the concerns. The whole incident is just intertwined with some very bizarre claims that were made. And then noting that there's just an issue with the medication, and we've been here time and time again with the multiple, bond motions that have been brought before the court to try to get her to return home. So I think this one, there's a little more knowledge on everyone's part about kind of what the situation is. I would just ask the court to take those things into account when determining what the sentence should be. I think some sort of mental health evaluation should be ordered just to make sure that she's in, whatever issues there may be are being addressed. Because it sounds like that might be kind of the root of the problem. I think maybe some, mental health treatment focused along with maybe some anger management might do her some good. And then, just making sure that she's taking her medications as prescribed to help her. So I think any sort of releases that would need to be signed so that probation can monitor those things should be ordered. And I would leave it to the court whether or not it wants to impose any work camp or community service or jail or anything of that nature. I would note that there was the victim did have a bloody nose when the police arrived. Stated that he was punched in the face, 3 to 4 times before being pushed out of the house. So this wasn't just a push type of case or an argument that didn't really escalate. I mean, there was physical injury along with admissions of the mechanism of that injury. So I think the court should take those things into account.
Thank you. Mr. Dick, allocution?
Yes, Your Honor. As has been brought up at each of the bond motions, it was mentioned by Mr. Brunton today, as well as previous bond motion, or sorry, during a previous bond motion, that there's been a ongoing mental health issue that Ms. Kona has been suffering with since she had her TBI, or traumatic brain injury, many years ago. Since that time, it arose out of an auto accident. Her auto insurance coverage covered much of her treatment and care for a long time. However, I believe it was approximately 11 years ago, they dropped her case entirely. She sought out legal counsel trying to get it reinstated so that she could continue to have the care that she needed. Her doctors did not believe that she was done with her therapy or that she should be just left to fend for herself at that time. Her son had been attending much of this with her, so they took it upon themselves to instruct him on what to do to continue this therapy and treatment. So 11 years ago, I believe it was, Mr. Brunton began working with his mother. They've been living together for the past 7 years. Here, they have never had one of these issues arise before. The facts of this case, as Mr. Fortier mentioned, for one, the officer noted that Ms. Kona had said there was the citronal candle oil spread throughout the house and all over her bed. And the officer noted that in his observation of that, none of that was present or accurate. So it reflects that this was a mental health episode where something was going on that was not of the norm. I'm sure Mr. Brunton can also reiterate that this has never happened before. This was a first instance. Something arose during this time, and Ms. Kona ultimately was taken from her home. She has not had her medication. She's not had her treatment. The nurse, I believe it was a nurse practitioner or a doctor that was scheduled to come for her home visit, was canceled because she is camping and staying wherever she is able to. She's not been able to maintain stable housing.
They emphasize her treatment needs over punishment, creating suspense.
During this period of time, because she can't afford to pay for her home that her and Mr. Brunton live in, and also pay for another residence. She had been trying to get into some additional health care during this time to address her underlying mental health issues, and as well as her physical therapy and things of that nature that she's not been able to do on her own. However, she's been denied repeatedly by Medicaid because of her being a retired worker for many years. She's 65, and she has, she makes too much money in her retirement from working to be able to qualify for Medicaid, but she doesn't make enough money to pay her bills and not lose the home that her and her son reside in and be able to pay for these other medical visits. Ms. Kona feels that she's put her son in a bit of a predicament here as well, as her retirement is what really pays for everything for her and Mr. Brunson, because he gave up his life, his job, and everything to become her full-time live-in caregiver many years ago. He does stay with Miss Kona, although his family resides elsewhere. That being said, Your Honor, it would be in Miss Kona's best interest to go home, to be taken care of by Mr. Brunson. If the court feels that it needs to retain jurisdiction for a period of time over her, we request that the court considers just a period of probation, allowing her to go home with the ability to exercise the court's authority over her if there were any issues that arose. I think after the 2.5-month period of her being out essentially on her own, there is going to be some sort of a readjustment period, but she doesn't feel that she's able to do this by herself. They do have a couple animals at the home, even caring for them if she was required to do so by herself. She doesn't feel that it would be manageable. Likewise, she doesn't want to displace Mr. Brunson, and because she doesn't believe she would be able to take care of the home or fully take care of herself if she were at the home alone by herself. And again, this has been Mr. Brunson's sole job, full-time job for many years now. Now, with this incident arising, he is aware that other things than he was used to may arise. And I believe that between the two of them, they will work to ensure that Ms. Kona has the care, the medical treatment, the medication, and everything that she needs to do their best to ensure that something like this never happens again. And I know the court is aware, however, I just want to mention it anyways, that with mental health issues, something such as happened on this day is generally unforeseeable if you are doing everything that you're supposed to do. So to say that there will never be any sort of incident again, ever, it's not something that logically or rationally would flow from something like this. So with that in mind, we would ask the court to just consider a period of probation, allowing Ms. Kona to get home, to get back into the care that she needs and start addressing the underlying issues. And if the court feels that some sort of anger management added into her otherwise medical treatment regimen would be appropriate, then I believe she would fully go along with all of that. That being said, Your Honor, we ask that the court takes into consideration when assessing fines and costs her position and the fact that she does not, she can't really afford much of anything in where she is right now, besides to ensure that the roof remains over her and her son's head.
Thank you, Mr. Dick. Ms. Kona, you also have the right to address me. If there's anything else that you want me to be aware of, now would be the time to let me know.
I mean, I've just been doing everything I can. I had lots of appointments set up last week and this week that because the court date was moved, I had to cancel them. I'm trying to do everything that you were saying. I'm listening to what other people, because this was a burst PTSD episode, I don't even know what I did. I only know by reading the police report that was provided for me from Mr. Dick. So, I'm going to support groups. I'm doing the things that I need to do just to come to terms with what I did to the one and only person who has stood by my side, the only person I trust, the person that's kept me safe. And we have lived together for 11 years since my accident. My accident was in 2014, and this man, my son, stopped his life to be by my side through all my rehabilitation, through all my surgeries, through all my rehabilitation, which we both took very seriously. 7 years ago, we chose to move up here because my home was on a main street downtown in the middle of a little village, and it was too much. So I found a place in the woods where I would have very little distraction. This year, with the ice storm again, and with all the things and all the strangers and all the people and all the things, I thought I was handling it. I thought I was, but I'm learning now that that I wasn't, and I wasn't aware of the signs. We probably weren't aware of the signs because it's never happened before. I've been working closely with my primary care. I did have a couple appointments with this Old Town psychiatry place by the courthouse. My insurance will not cover anything that's court related and will not relay anything to the courts. That's a Medicare PPO program through Social Security Disability. And again, I'm not eligible for Medicaid because I worked my entire life, and I did well for myself. But
Her raw vulnerability highlights the human side of this legal battle.
now, I'm in a real fine line on, I was gonna go to these appointments and pay for them anyways, and it was gonna cost me several $100s for 3 appointments. But I was trying to do this to get back on track, even though I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but my insurance will not pay for my psychological services if it's court related. So I have to pay everything out of pocket, which is extremely expensive. So I was going to go and just do it anyways because I need to do it. And but I was going to have them work in turn with my primary care, who's been working with me for my TBI and my anxiety issues. And she has sent letters. And also, I did have someone from Blue Cross Blue Shield, a nurse practitioner, that has attempted to come to my home twice to meet with myself. It's a new program they have, so I'm not familiar with it, but they actually come into your home and meet with you, meet with your caretaker. It's sort of like the wraparound program, if you're familiar with that.
I
I
am.
I was licensed wraparound coordinator many years ago. So that's the best I can, the
That's a good
best,
analogy.
yes, thank you. That's the best I can say. But because I haven't been there and I can't contact my son, I had to call and cancel them twice now because it's not something that just I do, it's something that he does as well. So I, I did work really hard to get some things in place, but it takes time and it does take money. I have absolutely no recollection of what happened that day. And if anybody is dumbfounded and whatever by it, it's me. Because I thought we did everything to keep me in a place quiet, isolated. I'm fine with it. There's so many things I can do, and I do. Uh, but all the noise, all the overstimulation, all of those things. Excuse me, I have COPD and I haven't had my medication for it, but all of those things was too much for me over the matter of the end of March to when this incident happened. And I don't know how I was supposed to know that. I don't know, that's something that would be a treatment plan with my son, myself, and my provider, and again, like that program, where you work with the different people to get from point A to point B. I don't have anywhere else to go. I'm not eligible for Medicaid, so the programs that were recommended to me by the court and by my attorney, I own a home, so the few things they do offer, I'm not eligible for. My house is paid for. My son and I paid for this house so that we could afford it when the auto dropped me. But I don't know, I'm rambling. I need to be redirected, so I'm gonna just stop. I'm gonna try to be respectful and I'm gonna stop myself. If you have a direct question to ask me, that would be the best way for me to do this at this point.
All right. You did fine. Thank you very much for all of that information. I do have a question for you. You stated that you would have to pay for your court-ordered psychological services yourself. If, however, information was given to your regular care providers and they decided that you needed certain types of treatment as a result of that, would your insurance pick that up?
I believe, if I understand this correctly, and this is usually things my son helps me with, so I don't know how accurate I am, but I believe that well, first of all, I found someplace on my own because my primary care, I didn't have an appointment with her until the 17th. But if she herself refers me to people and I sign releases, then my primary care can get the information from those people, and then Mr. Dick or whoever could attain get it like he has before.
All right, Mr. Brunton, are you? Yeah, no, you did fine. You did fine with the answer. Thank you. Mr. Brunton, is there any additional information that you have about payment by the insurance company for primary care versus court-ordered types of programs?
It sounds right. What she said sounds like it would be right. I can't see. I guess I don't know. I'm trying to follow it just as much as she is. It's kind of confusing, but I know that she can't do the Medicaid thing, and I know that court-ordered treatments aren't covered by certain insurances. I guess I don't really understand.
All right. What I'm trying to do is I'm going to try to craft a sentence which gives the most likelihood that the insurance companies will be able to pay for some of the treatment that I'm hopeful that she's going to get. So that was why I was asking the questions.
Okay.
It may not work out that way, but that's what I would like to be able to have happen if at all possible. So I'm going to try to craft this in a way that says, I believe that she needs some treatment, but I'm going to let the primary care physician and her community mental health people make those assessments and recommendations so that it comes from the medical side as opposed to the court ordering compliance with certain programs. So
Okay.
let me attempt to do that. I am going to minimize the fines and costs as much as I possibly can. There are some mandatory fees that I'm required to do. The first two are the $75
Judge weighs care and accountability with clear probation orders.
crime victim fee and a justice assessment of $50. I am going to put her on probation for a period of 90 days, and that's a shortening from what I would normally do it. But again, I want to make sure I minimize the cost. There's a $90 cost for that probation term. Court costs are going to be $100, fine of $50, and a local fee of $15. Add all that up for you. The total of $380. She can pay that over the course of probation.
Okay.
If she wishes to, she can perform some community service in lieu of some of those fines and costs, and that would be taken off the dollar amounts as well. I'm going to require defendant to advise her primary care physician and current treatment providers of the police report from this incident. And to follow any recommendation. And in that way, I'm hoping that because the primary care physician or the treatment providers order those things to be done at their discretion, that it would be payable by the insurance company because it comes from a medical provider or a mental health provider as opposed to coming from the court.
That makes sense.
So hopefully that will assist her with her finances and allow that to be done, and she will still receive the same mental health and traumatic brain injury treatment that would be necessary for her to minimize the likelihood that this will occur again. And I agree with Mr. Dick, and I understand the circumstances in the future are hard to predict because of the nature of a traumatic brain injury. But I want to do everything possible to reasonably prevent that from happening in the future and give the primary care physician and the treatment providers now the information for which they can draw those conclusions and suggest and recommend the appropriate treatment programs. All right, I am going to say no assaultive, abusive, intimidating, or threatening behavior. I don't believe Ms. Kona wants to do that sort of thing, but again, I'm duty bound. If she will do it at home, she may do it out in public, and I want to make sure that the public is safe. I also want to make sure that Mr. Brunton is safe. So as long as she's ordered not to do that, I think that's about as far as I can go in this case. I'm not going to impose any jail time. I don't believe that work camp would be appropriate given her traumatic brain injury. I've already minimized the fines and costs. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to add. I'm going to make typically I say that you can't do certain things. I'm going to say that you can have contact now so that Mr. Brunton and Ms. Kona both understand that she can go back to the home and she can have contact with you while the probation is pending. The reason I'm doing that is I believe that this was a mental health issue as opposed to a criminal or anger issue. However, both sides need to be aware that future incidents may be treated more seriously. I used the process this time to try to get Ms. Kona to come to the place where she's at right now, which is to understand that she needs to up the treatment side of things, and Mr. Brunton as well, that we need to up the treatment side of things. And I don't want to necessarily use the punishment side of things, but if this kind of behavior continues, then it's clear that the treatment is either not working or it's not being addressed appropriately, and punishment may have to be brought to bear in the future. I don't think it's necessary this time. I do believe from the way Ms. Kona is addressing me today and Mr. Brunton is addressing me today, that they're both focused on doing the appropriate treatment kinds of things. And I think that's appropriate now. I'm simply letting you know that in the future, either I or another judge would be looking at things in a different eye. We'd be saying, all right, we tried treatment. It hasn't had its impact, so we're going to have to try something different. So let's make every effort to talk to all of the treatment providers, primary care physician, community mental health, whoever else is out there that even is tangentially involved, all need to be made aware of this set of circumstances. And I would suggest that the police report or the affidavit of probable cause be used to give that information. So it's not, I don't believe in soft peddling things. It is what it is. What happened is what happened. And if they are aware of it, then it's not, they're given all of the surrounding facts and circumstances to make a good decision. All right. So that will be the order of the court. Ms. Kona, do you have any questions?
So, can I just go home now?
Yes, ma'am, you can.
I'm sorry, you said a lot, so will Mr.
You get to go home.
Yes.
Here's what I need you to know. You get to go home. You must do what your doctors tell you to do, and you must tell your doctors about this incident. That is, I want you to give the police report to all of your doctors and do
Okay.
whatever your doctors tell you to do to make sure that this never happens again. So you get to go home, you get to do what your doctors tell you to do, and you have to tell your doctors about this incident. Okay?
Yep. Do I have to give this stuff? I mean, you said something about 90 days. I don't understand.
You're going to be on probation for 90 days. That is, the probation department is going to monitor how you're doing for 90 days. They may call you and ask you what you're doing. They may say, hey, I need to get something from your doctor that says that you're doing okay, that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, that you gave the police report to your primary care physician. They may say, hey, you got to provide me some proof of that. So they're gonna monitor you for 90 days. And as long as you do what you're supposed to do, you'll be done. There's some fines and costs. Your attorney, Mr. Dick, and your son, Mr. Brunton, will be able to explain all those things to you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, Mr. Dick, anything else?
Not at this time. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Brunton, do you have a question?
Does she have a copy of the police report to get to her primary?
Mr. Dick does, if
Okay.
she does not.
Okay.
So you'll be able to get that through him. And he should have a copy of that affidavit of probable cause that I read today as well. So that's kind of a shortened or Reader's Digest version of the police report. All
Okay.
right. That's all for today then. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Thanks.
Yes.
Resolution hits. She can go home under close monitoring. The tension eases as justice and compassion meet in the final verdict.